The hard truth that most injury law firms have to accept is that text message follow up is going to absolutely kill their conversion rate. This video is perfect for the injury law firms who are not satisfied with the return on investment they are getting from their ads, or the injury law firms that are experiencing low show up rates into their booked consultations. Because in this video, I'm going to show you a secret flaw that text message follow up has that is really affecting most injury law firms, and they don't seem to really understand how much of a big impact this is making for them. And I'm also going to give you a solution to deal with this flaw so that this can double your booked consultations for your law firm without spending more thousands of dollars into ad spend. So if you're wondering who I am, I'm Aaron Pertillo, and I build email systems for injury law firms that usually book around 20 to 30 clients weekly, depending on the injury law firm. All right, so there is a hidden flaw in text message follow-up that most injury law firms do not talk about, and this flaw is massively affecting your return on investment. And what the flaw is, it's the lack of the cultivating triangle. And I'm going to show you this hidden flaw that text message follow up really has on your injury law firm. And I'm also going to show you the solution on how you can effectively convert your leads. And stick with me to the end of this video, because in the end of this video, I'm going to show you a system that's going to completely change your entire law firm. And what I mean by change is how effectively and efficiently you are going to convert your leads. But that's going to be more later down the line. There was this injury law firm, right? And they thought they hacked the code of following up. And the hack was sending text message follow up automatically to their lead. So the moment the lead came in, they had an automatic system to send a text message, right? And they were getting faster replies, and they were getting low intake team labor. The intake team did not have too much pressure on them. And because of this text message follow up, their conversions absolutely collapsed. And the problem with this system that this injury law firm had, and the reason why their conversion rates was so extremely low, was because the lack of nurturing. You see, this injury law firm only used that method, but they forgot something completely different. They forgot to build human connection, they forgot to build that trust, and they forgot to build that authority. And because they forgot to do all of these things, and because they were not able to nurture their lead into making this important life decision to work with this injury law firm, because you have to think about it. You have to think about the position your leads are in. Right now, your leads are probably in extremely tight spaces, in an extremely tight spot where they either cannot work because of their injuries, or their medical bills are piling up. That is why it's so important to nurture your leads, like how I said. So now real quick, I just want to really get into the numbers and how this law firm performed. So real quick, I want to read you the numbers of the stats that this injury law firm had when they were doing text message follow up. So their booked consultations went from 31% to 17%. Their no show rate went to 22% to 38%. Their stop or unsubbed climbed to 9%, and reported to the injury law firm that two of their high case values went with other injury law firms because the lack of the nurturing. So the bottom line is that just because you are following up with your lead in an instant does not mean that you're going to convert your lead really well. Because text message follow up, they are fast, but they're extremely empty and robotic to your lead. So now we are going to talk about why the chains that are really holding your injury law firm back, and why that text message follow up is really affecting your law firm badly. So the first chain that's really affecting you is the lack of depth you are building with your lead. You have to understand something about your lead. Right now, they're in a really bad spot. It could be either medical bills are piling up, or it could be that they cannot go to work because of their injuries. So since you're not really building anything with your lead, since you're not building that human connection, you're not going to nurture your lead effectively. Another problem that text message follow up has is that it's so easy to ignore your text messages. Because of the lack of value there is in your follow up, it is going to be extremely easy for a lead to ignore it because of the lack of value. It just looks like spam to them. The best way you can solve this is by making not the text message, because you cannot really, the text message format is that it's not the best, not the place I recommend, that you really add value or you really add case studies or stuff like that, because it's just going to look like a huge bulky text. It's not going to appeal to the eye. You have to, I'm going to talk the solutions more down the video. Right now I want to talk about the lack of value that your text message follow up has. And because of the lack of value your text message follow up has, it is so easy to ignore your text messages. Now, speaking of the format of your text messages and how most injury law firms usually do their text messages, is that it is so easy, or that format of text messages, you cannot really send out case studies. You cannot really have those credentials and show them. You cannot really show them stories and case results. And because you're not showing them these things, you are not really building that trust. You're not showing your lead what you can give them. The only thing you're showing your lead is, I want you to become my client, so give me your money. That's what all the lead sees. But by showing these consultation, or by showing these case studies, by showing these case results, you're showing the lead what you can do for them. And that is so important for these leads, because that's what they need right now. Now I really want to talk about, so because I really want you guys to understand how is this all unfolding in your law firm. Because of the lack of value you're giving, and because your text message follow up is so easy to ignore, that means the lower the replies are going to be. And because the replies are so low, the more cold calls your intake team is going to have to do. And because of this, you're going to give your intake team burnout. And another thing that starts to unfold with your leads is that since you're not really building that authority, that value through educating, you're going to have to deal with objections. And because you have not done objection handling in your follow ups, they're not going to trust you because you have not dealt with those objections. Their objections are still standing firm. And also, another thing that starts to unfold is your show up rates. Because of all of the things I've mentioned, the lack of human depth, the lack of educating your leads, which is that building your authority, and the lack of credentials. And also, another thing that is making no show up rates happening, it is how you start prepping them, how you start getting them ready for your show ups or for your consultations. If you're not prepping your lead properly, and the best way you can prep your lead is by really doing what I've told you through your case studies, which is your building your trust, your authority by educating in the human depth. Since you're not really prepping them for the consultation, they're not going to show up. And that's what happened to the other injury law firm, that their show up rates went up massively. And that's what happened to the other injury law firm, that their no show up rates went up massively. And because of all of the things that I have listed to you earlier about what is really unfolding in your law firm, your return on investment, it is being crushed extremely badly. The $10,000 you invested into leads just went down the toilet. And this is what happened to the other injury law firm. Now we need to look at the reason why, the main problem. Now, the good thing about text message follow up, and the only thing that was good about it, was how fast you can follow up with your lead. That was really good. But it was missing that element of educating your leads. It was missing that element of the case studies and testimonials. It was missing that element of human trust, building that human connection. So we need something that can send messages to your leads automatically, and we need something that has the format to send these. So we need something that can send things to your leads automatically, and we need another thing that can have the format properly structured to send these things automatically, because you have to remember something about humans. Things that appeal to our eye, we are usually attracted to, and then we are like, it's like a magnet that we go closer to it. And that is extremely important for marketing. So if you do marketing, or if somebody does marketing in your injury law firm and then you ask them how important the aesthetics of your whatever you're marketing on, if you ask if it's important, most likely, if they're good at marketing and they know how to do their job, they're most likely going to say yes, because that is how you capture the attention of your lead. But anyways, I'm rambling on about. Now, let's go through these 5 C's. It's context, credibility, clarify, consistency, and control. Now, we're to find these 2 things that I've said about sending these messages automatically and having the right format to make it emotionally appealing to the eye. So, the context is the space to really explain who you are, what you do, and what you can do for them. And also giving the context of what happens next, and explain why it's safe to book. Credibility is room for proof. Now, you have to have, because with credibility, testimonials, and case studies, the most important thing you have to do is making it emotionally relatable to your lead first. Do not talk about the logic. Do not think that, oh, they saw that we got this for our client, they're going to definitely want to work with us. No, you have to make this emotionally relatable. And then you need a right structure, a right format to really make this look nice and make it relatable for the client or for the lead. Now, with clarity, like I said, the format is extremely important. You have to make it skimmable. I'm talking about bullet points, checklists, or links to forms. All of that jazz is extremely important to really attract your lead to you. Now, consistency, we need, because we're not going to just send one follow up and that's it. We need to do this consistently over and over again without burning out your intake team. And control, we need to be able to segment our leads into different type of groups so we can send specific types of messages to your lead, because every single lead has different problems. They're worried about completely different things, and the more relatable you make it to your lead, the more effectively the conversions the more effectively you're going to convert your lead, because you're really relating to that lead. The lead is going to look at your client, your past client, and your case study, and since it's so relatable, since they're going exactly what your lead is going through, they're going to want to be your client. That's why, so that's just one example with case studies. Another example with why it's important to group your leads into different groups is because they need to be educated on different type of things. One that is getting hospital treatment has, they need to know completely different things than ones that has no hospital treatment yet that they're looking to get treatment. Or it goes through depending on how severe their injury is. One may be injured extremely badly, and the other one may not be extremely that bad, but their car is definitely wrecked. You see, it's just little things like that, little details like that, and you add that into your message, it's gonna make the difference between conversion. Now, we went through the 5 C's, and what I know from, I've looked into when I started this journey, right? And when I really looked into what worked and what can really help injury law firms, I found that email marketing, it is the best way to convert your lead. It is the foundation to everything. The foundation, it can help you, it can literally help you convert your leads through phone calls, through text messages, through referrals, or retargeted ads, or social media, all of that jazz. And then I'm going to show you how exactly emails really fit all of these 5 checklists. And I'm going to show you how emails actually fill in all of these checkboxes. So with context, right? Now every marketer has to understand the hook, the way to get your leads attention is one of the most important parts. You need to have context of what you're really giving here. And emails are perfect for this because of their subject line and their pre-header text. This is the perfect place to really reel in your leads. Because if you do this, now here is where you really want to take notes. Because if you do this by really, if you do this to a certain group of type of leads, right? Let's say motorcycle leads that have been seriously injured and getting hospital treatment. If you're talking about a case study, right? You can say that this is how we got this lead that's been through what you're going through, this result. And if you put that as the pre-header or the subject line, you're going to really hook in your lead really effectively. Credibility is one of the best places to have emotional, appealing case studies or testimonials, because you have to understand the most important part about case study is you have to make it emotionally relatable to your lead. Then that's where you can bring in the logic. But things that are more emotional to your, emotionally attractive to your lead, because as humans, we are emotionally driven creatures. We are not logically driven. So mixed with the context, if the body of the email is emotionally relatable to the lead, the conversion rates, you're going to really convert your lead extremely well. Now, clarity, emails are the one of the best places so you can really make it a skimmable text for your lead. You can put it in a checklist format of the amount of, or the problems that the lead was going through. You can make it relatable to your lead, or you can make it the solution that you solved for them. Or let's say you're doing an FAQ and you're solving, or you're going to do objection handling. I messed up on my FAQ. So let's say with the FAQ, you can be like, this is the question and this is the answer, stuff like that. Consistency with emails, you can write the email one time and have certain dates when you can send these emails out to your lead, and they'll always send the emails automatically to your lead. So I explained it kind of wrong, but the moment the lead comes in, and if you have the emails already in the system, it's gonna go through a campaign and it's gonna send the entire campaign automatically when the dates are sent or set. And now I talk a lot about segmentation, right? Really grouping your leads into specific and narrow type of groups. If you group your leads, right, is by if you connect your ESP, your email service provider, with your CRM, relationship management. I butchered it, but if you connect these two, you can really, and if you really set up your intake team form, you can get all the data that your leads put in the intake team form, and then the answers that the lead answered, you can, based off that, you can group them into specific groups, and on those specific groups you can send specific emails to your lead, and you only have to write the email one time. The moment you write the email one time for that one type of lead, all the time those specific type of leads come into the injury law firm, you can send emails to those leads automatically, and it's just so effective because it has everything. You can have one specific email that's educating your lead. You can have another email that is just solely on a case study on the of one of your past leads or clients. You can have just a human connection email, just really talking about your story. You can have objection handling or FAQs. You can just have it all, and then really send your emails automatically. All you have to do is set it up one time, and then it's like a conversion machine, converting your leads automatically. Now, if you're an injury law firm and you're serious about scaling your law firm into the next level, or if you're looking for a way to double or even triple your return on investments, I have a golden opportunity for you. Because I've made a system that can automatically convert your leads without adding in more labor or burning more money onto ads. And I am giving away this system for free. So if you really are interested in taking your law firm from point A to point B, please watch this video and on this timestamp, because this is where you can get more information about the system that can change your entire law firm and how you scale. Now, enough with that. I really hope that this video brought you a lot of value. And with that, God bless you all and keep your mind well.